My name is Tamara Olson. I'm 32 years old, and I own a plumbing business in a little city called Glen. Have you ever been insulted so deeply it almost feels like performance art? So picture this. I'm standing in my workshop, coveralls streaked with pipe grime, hands still smelling faintly of PVC glue when my phone buzzes. It's Mom. I wedge the phone between my shoulder and ear while I reset a toolbox. Hey, Mom, what's up? There's this careful inhale on the other end, the kind she does before telling you something for your own good. Tamara, honey, we've been talking, and we think it's best if you sit this Christmas out. For a second, I actually think I misheard her. Sit Christmas out? I laugh, waiting for the punchline. What? Did the calendar move it to Tuesday and nobody told me? No, she says. I mean, we think it's better for everyone if you don't come this year, just to keep things comfortable. The wrench in my hand suddenly feels heavy. Comfortable for who? She doesn't answer right away. I fill the silence by staring at the wall of copper fittings, like one of them might explain my life to me. It's complicated, Tamara, she finally says, voice shrinking. You know how these professional circles are. We don't want anyone to misunderstand. There it is, the vague fog that always rolls in right before the truth. Who asked for this? I press. You? Dad? It's about your sister, she blurts, like ripping off a bandage. And Craig's family. They're particular. Melanie thinks... Let me guess, I cut in, my throat going dry. Your daughter in law school and her doctor boyfriend don't want a plumber in the Christmas photos? Mom gasps softly like I've used a slur. It's not about your job, sweetie. It's just appearances. His father is a judge. His mother is on all those charity boards and... So my work boots might clash with their prestige, I say flatly. Don't say it like that, she whispers. You know we love you. It's just for this year. I feel something go quiet inside me. Not shattered. Just suddenly, absolutely still. Right, I say. Just this year. I hang up before she can start begging me to understand. For a minute, I just stand there in the workshop, listening to the ticking of the old wall clock and the compressor cycling off. Then I do what any emotionally stable adult woman would do. I call my cousin. Erin picks up on the first ring. What did they tell you? She says instead of hello. Wow, I say. We're skipping straight to spoilers now? She exhales hard. Mel's an idiot, that's what. She's been talking in the family chat for weeks about protecting her image around Craig's parents. I told her she was out of line, she blocked me until yesterday, and now apparently you're uninvited. My free hand curls into a fist. What exactly did she say? I ask. Erin doesn't sugarcoat. That's one of the reasons I love her. She said, and I quote, "It might not sit well with Craig's family if they see I'm from a plumber background. I don't want them thinking we're unpolished." Unpolished, I repeat, tasting the word like something rotten. Yeah, the same sister who has a brand new MacBook because of you, by the way. I lean against the workbench, suddenly aware of how grimy my sleeves are, how my hair is twisted up with a zip tie because I couldn't find an elastic this morning. Just to be clear, I say slowly, this is the same Melanie whose entire law school tuition I've been paying. 60-something grand so far, right? Erin says. Plus the bar prep she begged for early? Yeah, that one. I close my eyes. 3 years of payments. Every I'll pay you back when I'm a big shot attorney. Promise message. Every proud little text she sent me when she aced a class. And somehow never found a way to say, this would have been impossible without you, Tam. Instead, could you cover this book? My card keeps declining for the lab fee. They added a supplemental course. I really, really need it. Always need, never respect. I gotta go, I tell Erin. Thanks for being messy. You love me for it, she says. And Tamara, don't let them spin this like you're the problem. They're wrong. Full stop. I hang up and just stand there for a moment. The insult doesn't feel loud. It's not a slammed door or a shattered plate. It's a scalpel, sliding clean and cold. I clean up the shop on autopilot, lock the bay doors, and drive home. That night, I sit at my kitchen table with a glass of whiskey sweating onto a stack of invoices. The house is quiet except for the hum of the fridge and the occasional creak of pipes. My pipes, which, ironically, never complain about being unpolished. I open my laptop and log into my banking app. Tuition transfers, laptop, book reimbursements, deposits labeled just until financial aid clears. It's like scrolling through a financial autopsy of my own stupidity. I open a spreadsheet and begin adding everything up. My fingers move steadily, like I'm tightening a series of bolts. 64, Tanner. I stare at the total. Have you ever wanted to feel both incredibly generous and completely played at the same time? Try adding up 3 years of someone else's dream. My phone buzzes on the table. A familiar name lights up the screen. Ethan. I answer. Hey. Hey, Pipeslinger, he says, teasing him. You sound not fine. I almost laugh. Ethan's a software engineer, the kind of guy who could work from a beanbag chair and do math in his sleep, and yet he's never once made me feel lesser for owning a wrench instead of a keyboard. Family stuff, I say. You got a minute? For you? Always. I tell him the short version, the phone call, the uninvite, the word unpolished dangling in the air like a cobweb. He's quiet for a beat. Then, wow, that's impressive levels of audacity. Apparently having a plumber sister is bad for Melanie's brand, I say. I try to sound casual, but my voice crimps around the words. I guess Craig's judge dad might faint if he sees my work boots near the Christmas tree. Tamara. His tone turns gentle. You literally keep entire neighborhoods from flooding. You built a business from nothing. Anyone who's embarrassed by that is telling you way more about themselves than about you. I swallow past the tightness in my throat. Yeah, well, I say, my family seems to disagree. Then maybe they don't deserve what you've been giving them, he says. And I don't just mean Christmas visits. There's a quiet click in my brain, like something locking into place. Ethan? Yeah? If your ex... I pause, thinking of the woman who took advantage of him for years, until he finally snapped and left. If she had treated you the way Mel's treating me, and you kept paying her bills anyway, what would you tell yourself now? He doesn't hesitate. I'd tell myself to stop funding people who are embarrassed to be seen with me in public. My jaw tightens. Right, I say. That's what I thought. He doesn't push, doesn't tell me what to do. He just stays on the line while I stare at the number on my screen and let the truth sink in. I'm not their daughter, I'm their donor. After we hang up, I open a different tab. Melanie's university portal. Back in her first semester, when I was the greatest big sister ever, she set me up with login credentials so I could pay directly. I type them in. The site loads with a little spinning wheel of judgment. There it is, spring semester balance, $2,100, due in 2 weeks. Normally by now she'd already be buttering me up. Extra emojis. How's business? Texts. This year, nothing. I guess when you're in law school dating a doctor with a judge for a father, you start to believe the universe will just auto-pay your life. I stare at the make payment button. My anger isn't loud, it's surgical. They don't want the plumber at their table. Fine. But if I'm too unpolished to pass the cranberry sauce, then my money is too unpolished to pass through the bursar's office. I close the payment window. Instead, I take a screenshot of the balance and save it. Tomorrow I'll call Melanie. Not to fight, not to beg. Just to let her know that, for the first time in years, the ATM has found the off button. Outside, a cold wind rattles the kitchen window. In my chest, something calmer than rage settles in. A strange, sharp peace. Let's see how comfortable everyone is when the money stops, but the truth doesn't. The next morning, I wake up before my alarm. It's like my mind knew what today was, the day I finally stopped being everyone's silent wallet. I make coffee, sit at my small kitchen table, and stare at the screenshot of Melanie's tuition balance. $21,500, due in 2 weeks. My thumb hovers over her contact for a long moment. Then I press call. She picks up on the third ring, already annoyed. Tamara, can this wait? I'm in the middle of studying. Of course she is. She always is, except when she needs something. This'll be quick, I say. Your spring tuition deadline is coming up. Instant sunshine. Oh, thanks for remembering. Yeah, it's due on the 15th. You're still covering it, right? I actually have a meeting with my study group, so... Melanie, I interrupt, steady as a level. Before we talk money, I want to ask you something. She hesitates. Okay, what? Did you tell Mom and Dad I shouldn't come to Christmas because I'm a plumber? Silence, thick, heavy. Then, who told you that? Does it matter, I ask? Is it true? Another beat of silence. I imagine her scrambling for a story like she's in the middle of a courtroom improv exercise. It's not that simple, she finally says. Craig's family is just very particular. His dad's a judge. His mom is on several committees. I can't risk... Risk what, I say? Them knowing your sister works with tools instead of textbooks? That's not fair. No, I say. What wasn't fair was hearing I'm unpolished after paying your entire tuition. She scoffs. You promised to support me. You said you believed in my future. And I did, I say, back when you weren't ashamed to claim me as your sister. There's a thin, offended inhale. So does this mean you're not paying? Yes, I answer. That's exactly what it means. You can't do that, she snaps, voice cracking. Do you know how hard law school is? You're sabotaging my life over one stupid misunderstanding. No, I say, voice calm, almost eerily so. I'm walking away from someone who's ashamed of me. If I'm too embarrassing for your table, my money should be too embarrassing for your tuition. Then I hang up. I don't yell. I don't throw my phone. I don't cry. I just set it down like a final nail in a coffin and breathe. For 15 blissful seconds, there's peace. Then my phone blows up. Mom calling. 1. Mom missed call. 2. Mom missed call. 3. Mom's voicemail. 1. Mom. Text. Honey, this is all a misunderstanding. Mom calling. 4. I wait until call number 6 before answering. She launches into it mid-sob. You're tearing this family apart over one comment. She didn't mean it that way. She's under pressure. You know how important her career is. You promised to help her. I let her talk until she needs to breathe. Mom, I say quietly. She uninvited me from Christmas because she didn't want Craig's family knowing her sister is a plumber. That wasn't pressure. That was a choice, and you went along with it. Mom sniffles. You're taking it the wrong way. No, I say. I'm finally taking it exactly the way it is. When guilt stops working, she hands the phone to Dad. He doesn't bother with pleasantries. You're being selfish. There it is, the family classic. You're ruining your sister's future out of spite. Oh, I say. So I'm selfish for not wanting to fund someone who pretends I don't exist? We raised you to be better than this, he snaps. You raised me to value family, I say. But apparently that only applies when I'm paying their bills. He grumbles something about sacrifices. We make sacrifices for the good of the family, Tamara. For the good of the family, I repeat. Or for the good of the daughter who fits the picture you want people to see. Silence. Then Dad mutters, think about what you're doing. I have, I say, and hang up. For the next 48 hours, my phone turns into a guilt parade. Aunt Karen calls to lecture me about family duty. Uncle Steve emails a sermon about investing in Melanie's future. Distant cousins text me opinions they didn't ask permission to share. None of them offer to pay. Not one. Even Erin messages me. Okay, not gonna lie, it's getting rough. Maybe you've made your point? I text back. Point wasn't the goal. Boundaries were. She sends back a single and stops pushing. Meanwhile, Melanie spins her own version of events to Craig. Tamara's having some sort of emotional crisis. She suddenly stopped paying for no reason. I don't know why she's lashing out. But Craig isn't stupid. He starts asking questions no one prepared her for. Why haven't I met your sister? Why isn't she in any family photos? How can you afford law school with no job? And then the big one. What does your sister do for work? Erin texts me updates like she's narrating a crime documentary. Craig's asking questions. She lied, said you run a small business. He asked what kind of business. She froze. Suspense coils in my stomach. It's only a matter of time. Erin's message drops into my phone like a spark hitting dry leaves. Craig knows. I'm in the middle of loading a service van when the screen lights up again. He asked again what you do. She finally said plumbing. He said, and I quote, like with pipes? I snort despite myself. Men like Craig, white coat, fancy family, clean shoes, usually don't know a wrench from a ladle. But this one? This one surprises me. Next part is wild, Erin texts. His uncle built their lake house, started as a plumber. Oh, that is delicious. 5 minutes later, he walked out, didn't yell, just said, wow. 3 minutes after that, they broke up. It's over. I set my wrench down slowly. For years, I've been the financial scaffolding holding Melanie's entire future upright. And now, her carefully curated world is collapsing, not because of me, but because she kicked out the wrong piece of support and assumed nothing would wobble. I wish that were the end. But some people don't fall apart quietly. The next morning, at 10:12 a.m., I get a final text from Erin. Warning 911, Melanie is heading to your shop. She posted on Facebook. She's unhinged. I barely have time to warn my employees before the front door slams open hard enough to jingle the windows. Melanie stands there like a tornado in designer boots. Her hair is wild, mascara streaked, sunglasses crooked. She looks like she sprinted from a courtroom breakdown straight into a plumbing shop. My receptionist freezes mid-sentence. 3 customers go silent. My text exchange looks like, is this televised? Melanie points a shaking finger at me. You ruined my life. Ah, there it is. The entrance of the year. I step out from behind the counter slowly. Melanie, I say, let's take this outside. No, she screeches, stomping further inside. You don't get to hide. You don't get to make me look crazy when you are the reason Craig dumped me. Every eye in the room widens. She storms up to the counter, palms slamming down. You're selfish, Tamara, jealous. You want me to fail because you never went to college. I take a breath. Before I can respond, a voice cuts through the shop. Soft, elderly, sharp as a tack. Mrs. Jean, 74, tiny, cardigan buttoned wrong, but with the emotional accuracy of a courtroom sniper. Excuse me, young lady, she says, leaning on her cane. Is this the same sister who paid for your entire law school? Melanie turns red so fast it's almost impressive. That's not the point. Oh, but it is, Mrs. Jean says, crossing her arms. Where I come from, we call this biting the hand that feeds you. There are muffled chuckles around the shop. Melanie sputters, This is between me and my sister. Then don't bring the circus into a public business, Mrs. Jean says calmly. My lead tech, Mike, 6'4", quiet, gentle, not thrilled by theatrics, steps closer. Ma'am, he says, looking Melanie dead in the eyes, I think you should leave. No, she shouts. I am not leaving until she fixes what she destroyed. Destroyed? I repeat, my voice low. She rounds on me. You're my sister. You were supposed to help me. That was our agreement. I shake my head. No. I agreed to support you when you were proud to claim me. You erased me, Melanie. You told Mom and Dad that having a plumber in the family would embarrass you. She opens her mouth, but I don't let her twist it. And you still expected me to pay your tuition, to fund the image you curated without me. Her eyes dart around. The room is silent. So she tries one last tactic. Fine. If you want to do this publicly, I'll make it public. She yanks out her phone. I'll post everything on Facebook and Twitter. I'll tell people what kind of sister you are. I smile, slowly. Go ahead, I say. Just include the part where you uninvited me from Christmas because I'm a plumber. The HVAC hums loudly in the silence that follows. Melanie looks around the shop, desperate for someone, anyone, to take her side. No one moves. Not one person. So she slams her purse against the counter, knocks over the business card display, and spins toward the door. You are dead to me, she screams. Then stop sending me your tuition bills, I call after her. She chokes on a sound, shoves the door so hard it bounces off the stopper and storms out, rage dragging behind her like smoke. The shop is quiet for a long moment. Then Mrs. Jean pats my arm. You did right, sweetheart. Sometimes people have to crash before they stop looking down on the ground they walk on. I exhale. For the first time in years, I don't feel guilty. I feel steady, like the world finally shifted into place. But this is not the end. The meltdown is simply Melanie's opening act. Within 24 hours, she launches her Poor Me tour across the extended family. Aunt Karen calls and says, You're jealous of your sister's success. Uncle Steve says, You're sabotaging her long-term career. A cousin I haven't spoken to since middle school messages, family is everything. Everyone lectures. No one offers money. And deep down, a part of me finally wakes up to the truth. They don't want me to be part of the family. They just want me to fund it. If the public meltdown at my shop was Act 1, then what followed was the entire extended cast joining the performance. Uninvited, unnecessary, and unbelievably loud. By the time evening rolls around, my phone is a buzzing hornet's nest of opinions from relatives who haven't cared about my existence since flip phones were still a thing. Aunt Karen. Tamara, she's trying to better herself. Not everyone gets opportunities like law school. You should feel proud to support her. Uncle Steve, think of it as an investment. When she becomes successful, she can help you later. Second cousin Lisa, who once stole my favorite hoodie at age 13. Family obligations don't end just because you're offended. I scroll through every message slowly. Not one of them offers to pay. Finally, I reply once, just once, to the entire thread. If you believe so strongly in her future, feel free to contribute. The spring balance is $21,500. Lisa leaves the chat. Uncle Steve goes offline. Aunt Karen sends a gif of a cat praying. I can't make this up. And then silence spreads through the group like someone pulled a fire alarm. I put my phone down and sip my tea, letting the quiet settle over me. For the first time in years, the weight I've carried feels lighter. But the storm isn't done. In fact, it's only tightening its grip on the weakest link. Melanie. Erin texts me again. She's trying to get Craig's parents involved. Brace yourself. I don't even know how to brace for that. Turns out, no amount of bracing could have prepared me. Because Melanie does what Melanie always does. She performs. She drives to Craig's parents' house unannounced. Cries, begs, claims I ruined her life over a simple misunderstanding. She conveniently leaves out the part about uninviting me for being a plumber. But Erin, who has now fully accepted her role as family spy, gives me the full transcript. Craig is there, his mom is there, his dad, the judge, is there. And after Melanie finishes her dramatic monologue, something unexpected happens. The judge looks at her with an expression I can only imagine is what he reserves for defendants who lie poorly. Then he says, "Young lady, if you hope to join the legal profession, understand this. Manipulating people with half-truths is not a promising start." Melanie apparently just stared at him. Mouth open, mascara streaked, soul leaving her body. Craig's mother added gently, "Your sister paid for your education. That's not shameful, that's devotion." Melanie, who doesn't understand the concept of shame, still tries to pivot. "She's punishing me over Christmas dinner." The judge folds his hands. "No, she set a boundary. You crossed it. That is not punishment. That is consequence." I almost dropped my phone reading Aaron's texts. Melanie leaves humiliated, more unhinged than before. And now she's cornered. Because there is no backup plan. Her emergency loan, denied. Her financial aid, filed too late. Her co-signer has the credit score of a collapsing shed. Thanks, Mom and Dad. And to absolutely no one's surprise, no relative steps up to help. Not even the loudest ones. So the day arrives, tuition deadline, and Melanie's card declines. And declines. And declines again. Within a week, she has no choice. She drops out of law school. Aaron tells me she now works as a paralegal in a strip mall office outside Glenier. She tells people she's just taking a mental clarity break. Right. And plumbers wear Prada. Meanwhile, my life? It does something shocking. It gets better. Business booms. Word spreads about the shop that stood up to classism and chaos. I hire 2 new techs, buy a second service truck, take Ethan on a cabin trip I've put off for years. I sleep without guilt for the first time in a decade. And that's when the call comes. Mom. I stare at the screen long enough for it to go to voicemail. Then Dad tries. Then the landline at the shop rings. Finally, I pick up. Dad clears his throat in that way he does when he wants something but refuses to acknowledge it. "We were hoping to talk about, Mom, the mortgage." "Ah, the mortgage. The very one they expected me to help with. The one that's suddenly a burden now that their star daughter isn't making it rain legal dollars." I lean back in my chair. "Maybe ask your successful lawyer daughter for help," I say gently. There's a long, glorious silence. "That's not fair," Dad says. "No," I reply. "Fair would have been treating me like family before you needed my money." He sputters, searching for footing. Mom takes the phone. "Tamara, can't we put the past behind us?" "Sure," I say, as soon as someone is brave enough to say what actually happened. There is only silence, and that silence tells me everything I need to know. That night, I sit on my back porch in Glenier. Boots off, cold beer in hand. Sun setting behind the little garage I built myself. I think about everything I've carried for decades. The bills, the expectations, the silence, the shame that didn't belong to me. And in the soft hum of evening, something settles inside me, like peace finally landing where it always should have been. I am not rich, not flashy, not Ivy League. I'm a plumber. And somehow, after everything, they made me believe that wasn't enough. But sitting here now, it is. It always was.